Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Jujutsu Kaisen. Last time around, we watched the movie Jujutsu Kaisen 0, where basically it was set before Itadori became the vessel of Sukuna, and did not feature Itadori or Fushiguro or Kugisaki, but did feature Yuta Okotsu. I think that was his name. It was definitely Yuta, I remember that. And how Yuta was basically bound by a curse named Rika, who was one of the most powerful curses ever. If this is starting to sound familiar, don't worry, it changes a little bit. Basically, Rika was Yuta's best friend who died suddenly and but was still in love with him, and so cursed him, or at least that's what we were led to believe at first, till we later realized that Yuta is a descendant of this super all-powerful sorcerer bro guy or something, or whatever exposition Gojo dropped, and he actually cursed Rika. And there was a whole big fight. It was the night of 20 Million Tears, or whatever the hell it was called, and basically, we got Yuta versus Geto, and we learned a lot about Geto. That he's basically just boring generic anime villain who just hates a certain type of people. He's like a Harry Potter villain, except not a good Harry Potter villain. I mean, like, background Harry Potter villain number 4 in movie 3 or something. Maybe not maybe like movie 6. I don't know. Basically, he hates muggles, and he also hates Maki. Maki was there too. Maki was great. Maki is love. Maki is life. But yeah, and then he got his anus kicked, and it seemed that Gojo killed him, but we've obviously seen the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen, so he didn't die. So, yeah. Anyway, he's just as annoying as ever, and I don't know, maybe there'll be an entire episode of prequels that will tell me that he's actually not the most annoying villain ever. I say that literally because I can see from the thumbnails on Crunchyroll that this is going to have flashbacks, so yeah. Anywho, it's the first episode of the season. If you want to watch my full unedited reaction to this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, you can for free. It's down in the description and in the pinned comments along with the normal reaction highlight, so it'll say, watch the reaction highlight here. That's the normal edited with footage reaction. You can watch it. It's completely good, and hopefully it's good, and it's there. You can watch it. The second link, it says watch the full-length reaction here. That's the unedited version. I don't have the footage on that one, on that video, because I can't give you the entire episode. It's completely illegal. Despite what some people think, it is illegal. You can't do it. But basically what you do is you hit play on the video. There'll be a countdown of 3, 2, 1. That's when you hit play on your copy of this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm watching it on Crunchyroll. Probably if you have sub footage, that also works. Just mute it so that the languages don't get too crossed. And we're still watching the dub, so yeah. When you're done with either of those, I do highly encourage you to come right back here to this part, to this point in the video, because we will do the discussion for this episode. So, with all of those words being said, why don't we just go ahead and jump right into Season 2, Episode 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen. Here we go. It's just weird. Like, it's like, ah, yes, now that we've just got done making a movie that was, you know, a prequel to Season 1, we are now going to make another prequel, not only to Season 1, but also to the movie itself. You know, those great, interesting characters that you liked in Season 1? Well, you're not going to see them for a while. And I mean, like, look, that's fine. Hey, we still have Gojo. We still have Utahime, who's really great. And I'm curious where they're going with Gojo and Geto, but I don't know, man. Why you gotta complicate things? Why can't you just tell a fucking story? I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired. It's fine. It was good, but it's just like, it's weird. Okay, it's especially weird because there's like no prompting to it. Like, it just is like, yep, now we're a prequel. We're gonna have a prequel for a little while. And it's like, alright, we can do that, but like there's literally the only lead-in is the movie. But now I sit here and I think, why did you make the movie first? I mean, I guess you can't just make five, however many episodes this is, and then stop and then make a movie and then make the rest of the season. New question. Why wasn't this a movie? Like, maybe that would just take too long. Because if you go from one movie to another movie, you'd still have to take another break and then get to season 2. But, like, why... Okay, better question. Maybe not why isn't this a movie? Why was Jujutsu Kaisen 0 a movie then? Like, why didn't you make that part of season 2? And maybe it would have been too long. Okay. Here's what I'm assuming. Everything that we are going to see in this arc, hidden inventory and premature death, as it said at the beginning, everything we're going to see in this arc is wholesale vital to understanding season 2. The movie, I'm just going to assume I could have skipped it and not missed a thing. Which, quite frankly, having watched it, I'm kind of already thinking that. Because that was... Now, granted, it was a good movie. I enjoyed watching it. It was. I'm not regretting watching it, but in the movie, I was sitting there like, okay, what is this telling me that I don't already know? It's like, oh, we get to see, Maki, Toge, and Panda before the first years came in, when they were first years. Okay, great. What do I know about their characters now that I did not know from watching season 1? Nothing. Other than Maki used to wear skirts. That was it. And Toge used to have a different haircut. That was kind of it. Like, okay. Because now the question is, what did the movie tell me about this story that this arc is not going to tell me about the story? Because from what I'm seeing, this arc is going to be about, I assume, about how Geto, changed his views, which was interesting, seeing Gojo being the one bashing survival of the weakest and Geto being the one saying, no, we have to protect people, That was interesting. So, presumably by the end of this arc, the two of them are going to be switched. Gojo, he's not going to be that much different from the Gojo we know. Gojo, he's going to go from being, like, he's not less arrogant or eccentric or hyper, but he's going to... You know what he's going to be? Gojo in season 1 is like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like, he's bouncing all over the place. But he's also like, whoa, hey guys, I'm super cool. I'm Satoru Gojo. But he's also like, you're cool too, And he doesn't have that part yet. So by the end of this, he's going to really be Sonic the Hedgehog, That really is it. If you want the perfect description of Satoru Gojo, it's Sonic the Hedgehog. There you go. But if this is going to show how Geto began to hate muggles, basically, normies, as they put it, non-jutsu sorcerers, and how he, became so bitter and why he's now an enemy, why he has joined forces with Mahito and Hanami and everything, then I really sit here and think, what was the point of the movie other than... Like, because the only thing left in the movie at that point is the story of Yuta, which is a good story, but I don't know. Well, the problem with Yuta's story is half of it is already Itadori's story, you know? Now, this is probably why people said that I should wait like 5 episodes into season 2 before watching the movie. I'm starting to understand that. However, while that's true, that probably would have been a better option. But that's not how it was presented. That's not how it was presented to the public. It was presented as you watch the movie and then you watch this arc. They're really banking on Geto being an interesting character. And while I will say he wasn't annoying in this episode, he also wasn't a villain in this episode. And I'm willing to bet once he becomes a villain again, I'm just going to think he's so annoying and boring, you know? Like, I'm glad at least to get some more depth for him, because, you know, throughout all of season 1, you basically know nothing about this guy. He's just out there with his smug face, you know? And then you watch the movie where that's more or less the same, but you kind of understand now what his philosophies are. You know, he's like, oh, I only want a world where the strong survive, and yada, yada, yada. We've heard that 1,000 times in fiction before. So, I'm more okay with getting some more depth to him, actually seeing him when he was a good guy, when he was just a normal, I guess, quote-unquote, jutsu sorcerer. Honestly, the most interesting part of this episode was Utahime. I just like Utahime. I thought that was an interesting thing, watching her figuring things out. There was also Mei. She was kind of interesting, you know? And figuring out, like, oh, it's not just that, you know, it loops around like a donut. It's that they're constantly putting different parts of this into, you know, in front of you, basically. So if you run at high speeds in the opposite direction, it literally can't keep up and it'll break. That was interesting. That was an episode of Mob Psycho, and that was a great episode of Mob Psycho. That was like the OVA after season 2. It wasn't solved quite like that because it was Reagan trying to deal with it, but still. I miss Mob Psycho. But that was interesting, and I like seeing young Utahime. I want to see how she got the scar across her face. I understand why. I understand why she hates Gojo. And again, it's an interesting thing, because it's like, man, we thought Gojo was already bad in season 1. But it's like, there is something about it. It's like, no, not only is he arrogant, he's also kind of an asshole. Like again, like, he's very, like, accepting of others in season 1, and here he's just like, he just doesn't really care about other people. I mean, he cares about the strongest, I guess, you know? So it'll be interesting to see his views change. And then now, and you know, judging from the opening and the ending, we'll get to know this girl. And we'll really get to know her and probably care for her because, you know, she's cute anime girl. And things will go well. Things will go well, I'm sure. Okay. It's time for the honesty discussion. I said this, I think, in the first episode of season 1, that I knew exactly one thing about Jujutsu Kaisen, and now we're coming up on it. And I won't give it away. I mean, maybe I already have by accident, but I won't give it away, but it has to do with the girl. Now, that said, I genuinely don't know anything else about the girl. I don't really know her name. I didn't know she was a part of this whole, like, star vessel thing for Tengen, the tree man that, I don't know, who has achieved immortality, but he keeps evolving. And there's 2 groups. excuse me. There's two groups that want to stop him. Well, stop him from absorbing the girl. One is Q. I don't remember why they want that to stop. The other one is the religious group, because they view that Tengen absorbing the girl would be would like dilute him. Basically, I can't find another word. Would basically lead him away from his purified, evolution, basically. So in response, while the religious group cannot face Jutsu sorcerers in combat, but they can hire someone who can, and that's Fushiguro. Mr. Fushiguro, I guess. I guess we can call him that. I hope they give a different name for him, because it's going to be awkward calling him Fushiguro. I'm going to have to call our Fushiguro Megumi, which I've pretty much not done. I've only called him Fushiguro, so. But I like too that it's not just that, but it's like they highlight again that it's like, oh yeah, he is part of the Zenin clan. It's that he took his wife's name, Fushiguro, and because he's distanced himself from that, so, which we learned more about last season, so I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I just, you know me, I can't just enjoy an episode of Jujutsu Kaisen. I have to, raise some questions. It's odd. Now, I feel like I'm going to be more okay with this, because this feels like, especially because they're making this a multi-episode arc at the beginning of season 2. I feel like this is going to, heavily inform the events of season 2, whereas the movie, I think it works because it is a movie that it's like, here's just this little one-off thing. Doesn't really tell you anything new. Not really, it gives you the story of Yuta and Rika, and that's good, but otherwise, it really doesn't tell you anything you didn't already know. So, but otherwise, it's good. It's fine, It's good, it's fine, and this arc, at the very least, I'm curious, and I am curious about Gato, because, they finally made me kind of interested in this character. It's like, okay, what's this guy's deal? We kind of know what his deal will be, but how does he get to that point? And that's kind of interesting, And right now, it's like, yeah, he's kind of smug, but he's a good, he's still a hero. And even then, he's not as smug as Gojo is. And Gojo is, ridiculously smug now. So yeah, it's like there's the difference between how smug Gojo is now and the Sonic the Hedgehog that he is in season 1, and even in the movie, So this will be the thing of watching Gato become boring, generic, villain who hates the normies. Sorry to the normies, the channel the normies, haha. But hates the muggles, and the transformation of Gojo from smug teenage dick to Sonic the Hedgehog. That's what this arc is going to be. And also schoolgirl, anime schoolgirl thrown in, who's going to be absorbed by Tree Man. And with all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Jujutsu Kaisen reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.